Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
I hope everyone is enjoying their new year so far. We're going to go ahead and begin our bidders conference. Um, for the youth RSP, on the next slide, we would just like to say welcome everyone to the bidders conference and just give you a high level overview. That is our purpose of the recent RFP that we released for youth services in our 5 county region. So thank you for taking the time out to attend. Please put your name and organization that you are representing in the chat at this time. We do want to keep a record of who is attending today's conference. So just to review the agenda, we will we have our welcome and our purpose. We'll do introductions. Only the capital area staff will introduce themselves. We'll go over some ground rules, some RFP highlights, and excuse me, do a Q&A session. So, all right, that's our plan for today's bidders conference. So on the next slide, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about our ground rules, what you can expect and what to expect after today's sessions. On the next slide, you'll see that we do ask everyone to hold their questions to the end so that we can get through all of the information about this RFP. Also, this session is being recorded. We want to ensure that we're capturing um, everything that is said today for our bidders conference. The Q&A portion for the attendees and non-attendees, it will be available in Bonfire. Please keep in mind and note that um, the questions that are asked today, they will be posted in Bonfire on January the 9th, 2026. If there are any questions that we can't answer today, they will be posted on Bonfire. We do we do recognize that and want to protect the integrity of this process, so staff will not be able to answer any questions discussed anything one-on-one after the bidders conference today. After this session, questions must be submitted in writing to the RFP. Instructions can be found on page 2 of the RFP. Also, responses to those questions that we do receive, they will be posted on the Bonfire website. But we do ask that everyone, when they're submitting the questions, that you can be as clear, as descriptive as possible so that we can ensure that we're answering your questions appropriately. And on the next slide, I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Rose Fisher. And let me take a moment back. I did say that we were going to introduce capital area staff. And I will start with myself. I'm Jessica Locklear McLeod, One Stop System Director, and I will pass it to Thomas. And Thomas, you are mute.
Okay. Hey, good morning. My name is Thomas Palikil, and I'm the business manager of Capital Area. And unfortunately, my camera is not working this morning. I'm sorry about that. So I'll be presenting and talking about the budget information and how to prepare that and how to present it. And that's all. And I'm going to give it to Rose.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Rose Fisher. I am with Capital Area Workforce Development Board, and I am a program consultant for youth and adult programs. And I'll pass it to Kima.
Hi, my name is Kima Sidbury. I also work with Capital Area, and I am the program consultant for both NCWorks and NCWorks Next Gen.
Okay. And we have our executive director, Pat Sturdivant, on the line with us as well. So Pat, would you like to introduce yourself?
Good morning, everybody, and welcome. And we really appreciate your interest in the RFP. So I look forward to your questions. Thank you.
Okay, and now I'll pass it to Rose.
Oops. Okay, thank you for that. And next slide, please. I'll be talking a little bit about capital area. Of course, our mission and our vision will be a part of that conversation. Capital area um, is a public-private partnership that focuses on economic development. Within the catchment area in North Carolina, we serve a diverse and growing five-county area with over 1.7 million residents and over 65,702 businesses. Our key business sectors include technology, healthcare, skilled trades, and manufacturing. Capital Area is planning a coordinated body for workforce development activities. It provides oversight and planning for the Capital Area NC Works Career Center systems and administers the federal WIOA funding for adults, dislocated worker, youth, as well as other state and federal resources in our region. The board oversees workforce solutions in 5 counties, which are Wake, Johnston, Chatham, Lee, and Orange County. These are designed to serve businesses and individuals of all ages. Next slide, please. Our mission, it is to create a highly effective workforce system. This system will provide employers with productive, skilled workers and offer citizens training and employment opportunities that promote job satisfaction and economic stability. The accomplishment of this mission will enable all citizens to contribute to the prosperity of the community. Our vision is to be the leader in providing innovative solutions to match workforce skills and employer needs. Excuse me. Um, our centers, so we provide oversight and planning for the NC Works Career Center systems across Wake, Johnston, Lee, Chatham, and Orange County. We have a comprehensive center, which is our NC Works Center located in Wake County. We have 4 access point affiliate sites and 4 hubs. The 3 co-located next-gen centers are in Wake, Johnston, as well as Orange County. Next slide, please. And I believe Kima is taking over at this point. Thank you.
Yes, I will be covering the RFP highlights. So capital area solicits qualified organizations to provide youth and young adult services through capital areas NC Works workforce systems under WIOA. The purpose of this solicitation is to provide direct services for opportunity youth and young adults through a mix of WIOA funding and strategic partnerships with other youth-serving organizations. This request for proposals is soliciting proposals, NC Works Next Gen Youth and Young Adult Services. So programs must serve youth and be operated by organizations located in Wake, Johnston, Lee, Chatham, or Orange County. The board's WIOA services are directed specifically to young people between the ages 14 and 24 who are out of school or in school and who face challenges in obtaining the education, skills, or experience they need to get a good job. The board seeks to set standards for helping these young people, often referred to as opportunity youth, get a job, keep a job, or a better job. And also keep in mind that we do have listed 14, but please know that the majority of the youth served in our next gen programs are 16 to 24. And so they do face one or more barriers to employment, such as low income, high school dropout, having foster care experience, being involved in the justice system, being homeless, or being an English language learner, having a disability, or requiring additional assistance to enter or complete training or education program. The Capital Area Board intends that its system will support the needs of young people in the local area. So it must complete high school or obtain a high school equivalency with a good information about careers and job opportunities in our region. Also, enter post-secondary training or education, and this could be work-based learning, such as apprenticeships, on-the-job training to help them enter employment. And it also assesses lifelong opportunities for learning to advance in career and earnings over time. Also, we seek to align youth serving institutions to ease access, reduce duplication, close service gaps, and promote collaboration. Also, reduce the number of young people who are not engaged with the labor market, as well as provide entry into career pathways that can increase employment or paid work experience. And lastly, we want to improve the outcomes of youth and young adults through job placement or accelerated credential attainment and increased measurable skill gains. Program elements. So they are required, the 14 program elements. And so with this, the WIOA Youth and Young Adult Program should integrate all 14 required youth elements to participate in achieving employment success. So in your proposal, you must clearly demonstrate how each element will be made available, whether that is directly or through partnerships. And so here are as you can see, these are the 14 elements that are required. And just I'll name a few. Some of them are tutoring, work experience, financial literacy, and entrepreneurial skills training and supportive services. And now I will pass it over to Jessica, who will discuss briefly about measures.
Thank you, Kima. And as you can see on the slide, we do have capital area measures success in various ways. And some of the ways that we measure success are through the federal WIOA performance indicators, and these are our program year 25 performance indicators that the federal government releases. Capital area will be going into negotiations during, I think it's around April, May, with the state to negotiate our percentages for the upcoming year's performance indicators. And on the next slide, in addition to this, what happens with capital area, we also establish we have a pay for performance model for our youth servicing organizations. We have it for our for-profit organizations, and we have real-time measures for our nonprofit organizations. And as you can see on the screen, some of this is very similar to our performance indicators. However, capital area looks at the challenges that our service providers are facing throughout the year, and they take some of those challenges and incorporate them into the capital area established performance measures to help strengthen the weaknesses that are in our program. For instance, redaction. Also, for instance, follow-up services provided to youth. Our pay for performance for, excuse me, for-profit organizations, and on the next slide, you'll see them for the nonprofit organizations are the same. So, and this information is available to you in the bonfire portal. So please, as you're preparing your responses, go through, review the information, and if you have any questions, please ask those questions today or submit them on the online bonfire portal. And now we're getting ready to talk about, on the next slide, contract and funding. What to expect if you are a finalist or an awardee. And I'll hand it over to Thomas so that he can talk about that.
Thanks, Jessica. Good morning again. This is Thomas, and I'm going to talk about the funding availability and the and the requirements of the contracts and the budget and the stuff like that. So, negotiations with the successful bidders begins on or around April of this year, and the first year contracts will extend through June 30 of 2027. That's next year. That's the first program year under this RFP. And Capital Area reserves the right to renew contracts on an annual basis for up to 2 more years. That is through June 30 of 2029 for the youth service provider. And the next slide. Okay, so this is about the funding. We are expecting an approximate of little over $2.3 million for the upcoming program year, which is actually based on the PY25 actual numbers. And usually there can be a change in the federal allocation and state allocation. So these numbers may change based on the actual allocations of funding we receive. So WA also pursues, Capital Area also pursues and obtains external grants for special projects that are delivered through the NCWR system. And organizations that are awarded with the WA funds will assume responsibility for managing any additional grants as determined by Capital Area Workforce Board. And here's a little breakout of the county-wise funding for the youth program that we are expecting. So again, these numbers are not absolute numbers. These are again subject to change as per the actual allocations from the federal and state. So we are expecting a $1.1 million, to be specific, $1,167,241 for Wake County, and $226,990 for Lee County, and for $600,000 for Johnston County, and $155,769 for Chatham County. And Orange County is not included in this RFP. So that's a separate thing. But again, for Orange, we expect $184,354. And these amounts are again approximate and will be finalized during the contract negotiations. Next slide. And one other thing I just wanted to talk about is historically, we have limitations. There are certain cost limitations. For administrative costs, there are 7 to 10% of admin cost, and profit will be limited to 5 to 10%, limited from 5 to 8%. And Capital Area will not be paying at any cost for more than 8% profit or fees on the youth services. And also, I just wanted to add on to this, there are certain other spending requirements. One is at least 80% of the annual budget allocations should be spent by June 30 of each program year. And at least 25% of the youth expenditure should be on work-based learning activities. And also, at least 6% of the youth expenditures should be on registered apprenticeship and pre-apprenticeship programs. So these are the spending requirements set by state. So we will actually monitor these expenditures month after month, how you will be performing on that if you're selected. And then the budget templates. So there are certain clear budget templates available for you guys to use, which is shared in Bonfire system. And I can share something on that. Let me see if I can share my screen for real quick. I can take you through the yes, I'm going to share that. I don't know if you can see this. Can you all see my screen?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. Let me Okay, this one, share. Can you see it right now?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the budget template that I was talking to you guys. So this one it's kind of like very easy to use. So this is a Excel format and easy to use with embedded formulas on each cost category items. You can see that this is the front page, which is the summary page of the budget, which gives you total program cost and total administrative cost, and then uh, total of the budget, like total of the budget funding that you're requesting. And then towards the second page, you can see that there's a section for salaries, section for fringe benefits. As you see here, there is formulas everywhere. So what you will need to do is actually key in the actual numbers over here, and then it will calculate the formula. It will calculate the actual amounts and the totals as well. So these totals will be carried forward into the main page here. As you see, these are the cost category numbers here. So along with that, you will see that numbers over here. As you keep on filling these pages, 1, 2, 3, 4, and these numbers will be popped up in this main page. So that'll be an easy thing for you guys. But at the same time, I just wanted to remind you guys is while you do this staff salaries for each cost category, you will need to submit a budget narrative as well. So how did you arrive at this? So example is director's salary and case manager's salary. How did you arrive at this? So along with these calculations, you will also need to send us a budget narrative on how did you arrive at these numbers. So that also need to be submitted along with this. And I will turn it over to Jessica again.
Thank you, Thomas. Thomas, will you please share our cost per participant with everyone?
Cost per participant.
Yes.
I don't have an exact calculation there actually. So
Okay.
it depends on each county allocations. So we don't have an exact number there to share with you guys.
Okay, and I do want to clarify that our 5-county region is Wake, Lee, Chatham, Orange, and Johnston County. So this RFP is inclusive of all of those counties. The next thing that we want to talk about a little bit are some bidding requirements, how to submit the proposal, and how it will be evaluated. It is so important to follow the instructions that are outlined in the RFP. I do want to note that subcontracting, it is permissible. However, whenever you're looking at subcontracting, it can be no more than 25% of the funds awarded, and under any contract that may be subcontracted. And that doesn't include on-the-job training and those that are developed for WIOA customers. Who can apply? Any governmental agency, educational or not-for-profit agency, also private for profit organizations that engage in employment training and educational opportunities for eligible adults and young adults and youth may apply. We do want to note that any expenses that are incurred prior to the execution date of the contract or after the termination date of the contract will not be paid. So please note that. And on the next slide, we also want to just re-emphasize, there'll be no late submissions. There are no exceptions to this. All proposals, they got to be submitted through the Wake County Bonfire portal and also here to the proposal details under submitting a proposal in the RFP. The deadline for the responses is 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on February 4th, 2026. And on the next slide, I just want to talk about the evaluation of the proposal just a little bit because we do have some factors that we look at. We look at the relevance, experience, and manager operation in which similar to what the organization is bidding for. We look at the approach to managing operations in the capital area one-stop system as described in the statement of work. We also look at those financial processes, the stability, and the proposed budget of the bidding organization. So we look at all of those things um, and we score on that. Our review panel will consist of capital area board members, capital area staff. It may be some partners that are on this review panel as well. And then our final approval is through the Capital Area Workforce Development Board. And our RFP timeline on the next slide includes the last date, just want to re-emphasize, to submit those questions is January the 8th. We'll post an addendum in Bonfire with the responses to the question. The RFP is due February 4th. Just want to reiterate, there is a virtual respondents Q&A session that will be by invitation only. So mark your calendars for March 9th. Award notifications to respondents will go out by March 31st. Contract negotiations will be the week of April 13th to the 17th. So mark your calendars. And then the contract will begin on July 1st. Also, we want to give you a few resources. A few resources that will help you in this process. The WIOA final rule, we have the website there listed for you. Also, look at the DWS policies. This is where they can be found. Also, look at our capital area policies. There is in our staff portal on our website. Our website is listed for you, and there is a password that's associated with it. So you will have access to all of those things. Before we go into our Q&A session, I do want to note that Capital Area is proud to state that we did meet all of our PY24 performance indicators. We met or exceeded them. Now we'll go into our Q&A session if there are any questions. You can put your question in the chat or you can ask your question. And for those individuals that joined us a little late, please put your name and organization in the chat. Okay, if there are no questions, this will close our bidding session, bidders conference session. And I do want to note that the Capital Area Workforce Development, Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act Youth Program is federally funded, supported 100% by the U.S. Department of Labor as part of an award totaling $2,334,354. So thank you for taking the time to join us for the.
Excuse me, Ms. McLeod.
Yes.
How you doing? This is Kwame Simmons. I did have a question. I was going back to the slide regarding the county-wise funding, and I know things are still evolving, but based upon the slide, when I look at Wake County versus Orange, is the funding based upon size or need? And if it is, and or is there a greater need in any particular county respective to another?
I'll take that, Jessica. This
Okay.
is Pat Sturdivant. It's based a little on both. So what we're basing it on, we're basing it on the general allocations for the county, but also based on the trending of what funding has been needed in that county. One of the things that we do as a board, if we do see throughout the year that that changes, that there's more of a need in a one county and less of a need in the other, then we are open to modifying or adding funding to a contract. But this is based on the trending that we've seen over the last years, as well as the proportionate allocations based on the size of the county.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay.
One of the
Do we?
things I would also like to add, so that I want people to be conscientious of while you're designing your proposals. Generally, as a workforce board, um, we we generally don't do county by county contracts. So we have 5 counties. We generally, as much as possible, try to centralize our youth services. However, we will consider individual counties if you can show a prevailing reason of why we should consider a single county. So, like for example, right now, for our current contractors, we have one contractor that covers Wake, Johnston, Lee, and Chatham. We also have a contractor that just covers Orange County, but that was because they gave a prevailing reason for why we should support one county. And then we also have a single county contract. But I just want to make everybody aware that generally we don't do county by county. And if you do want to just address the services for one county, you really need to give a prevailing reason for why we should accept that proposal.
I had a question. Hello, my name is Tamika Simmons. Had a question regarding if you already have a number in mind or if there will be an opportunity for multiple vendors to be awarded. What are you looking for it to be multiple different options, or are you looking for one organization to just be able to handle all of it? As well as if you had some idea of also numbers of the total numbers that it would, or maybe I missed that, the total numbers of who we would be serving.
Yeah, well, I think I understand your question, and the part of what I just said sort of addresses that. So again, ideally, um, we don't want to have, 6 or 7 different providers because we've done that in the past and it dilutes the services.
Mhm.
However, we will accept, like I said, right now we have a service provider that only covers Johnston County. And that's because they gave us prevailing reasons of why this makes sense. We have one provider that covers Orange County. And again, with that same understanding. So
Okay.
we're open to it, but again, you just need to make your case in your proposal.
So I guess I was not saying for us to not propose to all the counties. I guess my thought was if we submit a proposal for all counties and 3 other ones also submit one for all counties, are you looking to possibly still award this to 2 to 3 different
Yeah,
groups?
yeah, we could no, we wouldn't
Okay.
have 2 different organizations serving the same county.
Okay.
However, if, let's say, for example, you were to submit a proposal and you say, I want to cover all 5 counties, we
Yes.
may decide based on looking at all the proposals that we don't want you to serve all counties, but we feel really strongly about you serving 2. So
Okay.
that's something that we would go over with you during the contract negotiations to say, well, we're not awarding you all 5 counties, but if you're interested, we would like for you to service these 2 counties.
Okay. Thank
So,
you. That makes sense.
okay, and as far as the cost per participant, what we've traditionally seen is anywhere between $6,000 to $8,000 per participant. And again, if you're going to go higher than that, you really need to have some strong justification. Again, we are basing this on what we've seen as the success we've had with our providers in the past, and that's where they've ranged somewhere between $6,000 and $8,000 per participant.
Thank you. That answered all my questions. Thank you.
Are there any other questions? And that application that Pat is referring to, it is the subset um, to serve the county. So please, it is available to you in Bonfire for completion. Any other questions?
Hey, this is Derek Drakeford. How's everybody doing? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Quick question. How many youth per county were served in each county the previous calendar year?
The previous county year, we have that information available for you. And there was a total of 308 youth that were served. And this information is also in Bonfire as well. Orange County, there were 16 youth that are served. Chatham County, there were 8. Lee County, and this is last program year. Lee County was 24. Johnston County was 123, and Wake County was 137.
And is that new enrollments, Jessica, versus total?
Yes, new
That's new
enrollment.
enrollments versus total.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Mhm. Okay. If there are no other questions, thank you so much for attending today's Bidders Conference, and have a happy new year. And we look forward to reviewing your RFPs, your submissions. Have a great day. Thanks.